Hi everyone, I'm Bree the Plant Lady. Today I'm going to take this dry drab window box and transform it using all succulents right from my garden. So stay tuned to see how you can take a window box from this to this. I created this window box way back in the beginning of November just to give it some oomph after I removed all of the tender succulents that I grow in this space through the summer season. This window box design is really creative and super smart, engineered by my husband. It simply comes right off the frame, making it super easy to remove. So the first step in renovating this window box is to simply take it off of its holder and then discard all the dry foliage. This soil is so dry. Now this is west facing, and during the growing season, it's great to be able to grow succulents in here. But honestly, this soil is so hydrophobic, I think it's the best decision just to dump it out and refill it with Soil Cube organic compost. This is one of the advantages, being able to take it right off of its stand and work with it here in a wheelbarrow. Now I'll be able to fill it and start fresh with soil that won't be hydrophobic. There's a few great things about this design. First of all, it's made entirely out of cedar so it doesn't rot. Another thing is the whole back has this lip, and that's what actually just sits right over top of the 3 pieces of wood, and that's how it hangs under the window. Now you can see I have a fairly large slit here, and that's what adds drainage. You could put landscape fabric or even screening or something if you wanted to prevent soil from falling through. I think for this season I'm going to be fine just adding straight Soil Cube organic compost and then getting it replanted. So I've got the Soil Cube filling it almost to the top, and you see it's just so nice. It's actually crumbly because it is a little frosty. And now I'm going to go through the garden and bring you along and show you some of the plants that I think will be perfect for scavenging from the foodscape to put in here for winter interest. When in doubt, sedum is always the answer. Now this is a great variety that you can see is just naturalized all along this border, and it's so easy to transplant. You literally just can come in and just like take a handful, just like that. And then I can put that right into the window box. All right, so I've collected basically a solid ground cover of sedum from in the garden, and I am just gonna kind of let that basically cover the space like it would be like mulch. And then I decided for some extra oomph and some height, I'm just gonna thumb in some pieces of garlic that have started to sprout. And you might be asking, like, is it too late to plant garlic? And it's not really. Here in Zone 7, I usually tell people between Labor Day and Christmas, or just after Christmas. But you know what, who cares? Just try it. What do you have to lose? Seriously. I get a lot of questions that people clearly are just like timid about the process of gardening. And I want to just say, like, what do you have to lose for trying? Like, you're not losing anything. Like, this garlic isn't costing me anything. Transplanting this sedum from my garden didn't cost anything. You know, if this window box doesn't succeed, it doesn't matter. It's literally like the lowest stakes thing ever, okay? So what? If it looks good for a month, that's a win. If it looks good for 3 months, that's a super win. Here's the thing, it's not meant to be permanent, and my whole life doesn't depend on this being beautiful forever either. So I really want to tell people to like chill out and just enjoy it. And if something doesn't work, then just redo it. It's not a big deal. All of us go through this. In fact, I might venture to say that those of us who get over the idea of failure are ultimately the ones that become really good at gardening, because we don't let little things get in the way of us continuing to experiment. And so that's really the wisdom that I wanted to share today, is that, like, oh, you think it's too cold? Well, maybe it is if you live in a really cold zone, but honestly, even zone 6 warms up periodically through the winter, and I know your ground doesn't stay frozen for 4 or 5 months straight. So don't use climate as your excuse for not enjoying the garden through this time of year. And you know, for those of you who do live in warm climates, there's really no reason for you to not get out and enjoy the winter. Frankly, it's an easier time to garden than in the middle of summer. You don't have to water because we get plenty of rain, and it's cold, so nothing's drying out, and you don't have to fertilize because nothing's growing that fast. And you know, it's just a much lower maintenance time to be outside and to get to know your garden in a completely different way. So I just want to encourage you to not use these kind of standard biases that gardening is only for the summer to get in your way of enjoying a completely different time of the year, especially since we're still in the middle of a pandemic and you really shouldn't be going out and about places. Take advantage of your yard and get creative and make a silly, simple winter interest window box by, you know, just replanting it after the holidays, and you know, just see how it does through the season. If it fails, you can replant it. All right, that's the Bree wisdom from today. All right, I have my window box ready to go for the winter. Just gonna hang it back up on that handy frame, and voila. Now I'm gonna get this watered in. And then if you want to add a little pizzazz, stay tuned for some of my creative ideas for just taking branches to add a little extra interest through the cool season. So Harry Lauder's walking stick is one of my all-time favorite branches to use just to create a little pizzazz in containers. Sometimes I spray paint these, but because we're past the holidays, I'm not going to go to that effort. I'm just going to put these in natural. And it's just as simple as sticking the branches in. I don't need this to be really high. This is my kitchen window. I just want to have some interesting texture to look out on. And then to add the really tacky factor, I have this little glass flamingo that was given to me by a friend when I turned 40, and I just love it, and I'm gonna set it here so when I look out I can just see the top of it. It'll remind me of times past that I really cherish. And at the end of the day, that's what gardening is all about. It's personal, it's an expression of you, and it's meant to be fun, so don't get stressed out about it. You know, that's the thing. We all make mistakes, and we can all learn from those mistakes, and we can do better. And if something doesn't work, you can just replant it. So nothing is set in concrete in gardening. That's why it's so awesome. I hope you'll be inspired to get outside this winter and do some creative planting, no matter how big or small, from a simple window box to a property border. You know, scatter some seeds, plant some hardy succulents, have fun, and experiment with it. You have nothing to lose, but only knowledge to gain. Thanks so much for watching, everyone.